Welcome everybody. Today we are going to be modeling our starting VEX robot. So it's going to be a lot of fun. This is Fusion 360 we're working in. So we're trying to create this object. So we're going to have the front wheel here, the back wheel goes here, and we'll cut out these holes for the bearings to go into. These little holes are for screws and we'll add those later in the build. And these are for attaching the base and we'll add these little teeth later on as well. We're just getting the overall shape today. All right. Awesome. So this is Fusion 360. Show you around a little bit. This is, over here is your data panel, this little waffle in the top left corner. If you click on it, it'll show you all the different stuff you have made. What you're going to do right away, you're going to click on New Project here, and you're going to create a project called VEX Robotics. I already have one. It looks just like this. So you can see here, VEX Robotics, that's what you're trying to create. All right, once you have that done, what you're going to do is we're going to go ahead and close the data panel out, and we're going to click File, or we're going to hit the Save button here, and we're going to look in our location, and we're going to find VEX Robotics. So double click on VEX Robotics, and then we're going to call this our VEX Robot. And we're going to hit Save. Now we just created a file called VEX Robot in our VEX Robotics project. So we can put a bunch of files in that project. It's kind of like a folder, like you'd normally think of as a folder. Okay, first thing we need to do is we need to draw the outside shape that we've already drawn in our notebook. We need to create that on the computer. So let's jam on it. To do that, we're going to create a sketch. Now when you create a sketch, it shows you this origin plane. And there are three planes it shows you. There's the front plane here, see how it's light gray? Then there's a bottom plane here, and there's a side plane. Well, we're going to be building the side of the robot first, so we're going to click on this side plane view, and it's going to square us up to that view. First thing I want to do is add a circle. So I'm going to grab a circle tool here, go down to the very middle. I know I'm in the middle because I see that blue square around it, and click and drag, and we're going to type in 135 millimeters and hit enter. Now at this point, that's pretty big. We want to actually zoom out a little bit. To zoom in Fusion 360, you roll the mouse ball. So rolling it up goes out, rolling it down goes in. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And I want to move this off to the left-hand side. So to move around a sketch, you're going to use the mouse ball like a button. So instead of rolling it, you're going to press it straight down like a button and then move your mouse around while you're holding the button or the wheel down. And then let go and you're right there. Play around with those two things, zooming out, zooming in, and moving the sketch around so you're comfortable doing it quickly and easily. All right, next step is to draw the back wheel. So I'm going to come over here somewhere. I want it lined up with this one, but I'm going to throw it off a little bit just so I can show you how to line stuff up. So I'm going to click up here somewhere weird and then do 135 again and hit enter. And now to line these two up, I'm going to grab a line tool. I'm going to turn it into a construction line. So construction lines are for lining things up and dimension and spreading things apart. Regular lines, and I'll show you what a construction line looks like. When I click on the center of this circle, and I know I have the center because I see that blue circle there, and I'm going to come over to the center of this circle, again looking for that blue circle, and click. A construction line is this dashed line, and it is for just lining things up basically. I'm going to hit escape to get out of the line tool. And now I'm going to come up here to the vertical horizontal constraint. These red constraint things force your drawing into a certain shape. In this case, it's going to force it to be either horizontal or vertical. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to take this orange line that's almost horizontal, click on it, and it's going to force it to be totally horizontal. All right, that's awesome so far. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to make the distance between these two circles 250 millimeters. So I'm going to use D for dimensioning, or I can come up here to the Create menu and grab the Sketch Dimension here. I'm just going to use the D key. I'm going to click on this line. I'm not going to click and drag. I'm just going to click once, come down here some, and then click again down here where I want to place the measurement. And then I'm going to tell it 250 millimeters, and it's going to bring those into exact right distance. Awesome. So we've got the two wheels done. Now we need to do these connecting lines in between. So I'm going to grab the line tool again. I'm going to come to the edge of the circle. I know I have the edge of the circle when I see that X, that blue X. So find that blue X. Doesn't matter really where you go. Click on it, drag over. Oh, I noticed that I have a dashed line. So before I'm just going to come over here, turn off the construction line because this I want a real line for this. And I'm going to go to about here, and then I'm going to drag up to this angle up here, just kind of lining it up directly above that opening or the center of that circle there. And I'm going to come down here and just connect it back. I see that X, so I'm connected back to the circle. So that's fantastic. I need one more across the entire bottom. So I'm going to come down here, find the X on this side of the circle, and drag a line all the way across to this side. I'm going to make mine intentionally wonky so it's not straight across, so we can see how to make it straight across. Now I'm going to hit Escape to leave the line tool. I'm going to come grab my horizontal vertical constraint, and I'm going to click on this line right here. Notice it puts one of these little brushes in. That's a horizontal constraint. Up here, Fusion saw that we were drawing the line horizontally, so it added that constraint for us. So this one's already been made horizontal. Escape. All right. Next thing we want to do is let's start dimensioning some of this stuff. So I'm going to use D for dimensioning. I'm going to click on this line right here, come up and click again up at the top somewhere and make this 100 millimeters. That should be the distance of that one. And then the next thing we want to do is, we're going to do the dimension between this line and this line. So I'm going to click on this line, come down here, click on the bottom line, and now notice how it switched the dimension to be between the two lines. And then I'm going to come over here, place the measurement there, and I want this to be 70. Next dimension I'm going to do is from this center line down to this bottom blue line. So I'm going to click the center line here, the blue line here. I'm going to place the measurement right about there, and I want that one to be 30. Okay, so those are locking in. Notice how the lines, as they lock in place, they turn from blue to black. So these black lines can't be moved around. These blue lines can still be modified some. All right, next thing we want to do is get this dot, the top of this one here, directly above this circle here. To do that, I'm going to grab a construction line again. Just lining things up, so I'm using construction lines for that. I'm going to click on the center of the circle. Whoops. Click on the center of the circle, and then this point right there. And then I'm going to use my vertical horizontal constraint. I'm going to click on this one. And because this one's nearly vertical, it's going to make it vertical for us. I'm going to hit Escape to leave that tool. Now I need to make this dimension 145 millimeters. So I'm going to hit D for dimensioning, click on this line, and I'm going to drag it out just like this far, and click again to place it, and then 145, enter. Awesome. Now, this is kind of weird. See how this line comes down? There's like a kink here. It doesn't come down smoothly to the circle. I want to fix that. And the way we fix that is a really cool constraint called the tangent tool. The tangent tool makes a line and a circle come perfectly smooth into each other. Watch what it does. So I'm going to click on the tangent tool. I'm going to click on the line that I want and the circle that I want, and boom, it makes it come like perfectly smooth. So this will be just like a really nice, consistent, like flat line, smooth into a circle right there. Awesome. Now we've got almost everything done. The last thing we want to do is we just want to round over this pointy top at the end. And to do that, we're going to use a tool called the Fillet tool. So it's here on the Modify menu. If you can't find it up at the top here, you can click on Modify and Fillet. I'm going to click on the very top. Sometimes it will let you click on the very top and get the fillet. In this case, it doesn't. So we're going to click on this line and that line. Those are the two lines we want to fillet. And we're going to fill it at 30 millimeters. So I'm going to type in 30 and hit enter. Awesome. Last two things we want to do is we want to cut these holes for the bearings. So we're going to go grab some more circles. Go to the center of this left circle, drag out. Oop, notice I still have my construction line on. So again, I'm going to come over here, turn my construction line off. And then I'm going to type in 22.3 millimeters for this hole. And then 22.3 for this one. Enter. Now you need to extrude this out. And I'm going to extrude out the thickness of the piece of plywood. So right now we have the shape and we're going to pull it into existence. It's pretty cool. Before I do that though, I'm going to actually create a parameter for this thickness because we're going to be using it over and over again. So here I'm going to come up here to modify and change parameters. Once this clicks on, I'm going to click user parameter, and I'm going to name this one thickness. And the thickness of this material is 5.3 millimeters. So I'm going to type in 5.3 here and click OK. And now I'm going to click OK again. And now I'm going to extrude this. So I'm going to use the E key for extrude. And I'm going to extrude this piece, and this piece. I don't want these two bottom pieces, and I don't want these two pieces because those are not going to exist. Those are going to be a hole and then not even be there. And then I'm going to tip it over so I can see what's happening. And to tip stuff, to tip your drawings and objects, you can grab the cube up in the upper right corner and just roll it around and tip it around. Now sometimes when you're messing around with stuff, you'll get lost and be like, how do I get back to where I was? The easy thing to do is when you hover over here, there's a home button. The home button will take you back to this view, top, front, right view, every single time. So, and then if I want, say I want to go my right view again, I can click on this right view and it'll square me up to the right view. I can also rotate with these keys up here. And I can rotate to different sides of the view by clicking here. So now I'm on the back side, left side, right side. I can click on the corners. It'll bring me to a corner. I can click on the edges. It'll bring me to the edges. So there's just all the views you can get to. I'm going to go back to home now. And I'm going to click on the right-hand side view. Actually, I'm going to tip it a little bit. I want to see what's going on. Notice here, this is my extrude arrow. I can drag my extrude arrow and pull it into existence. It's as thick a material as I want to go. In this case, we already have our thickness. So I'm going to type in TH for thickness instead of the number. I'm going to hit enter to enter that thickness, and then one more enter to lock it all in. Enter. That, my friends, is our first piece. Let's hit Control S for save. You don't have to worry about putting in a version description. You can if you want to, and then click OK. Awesome. Great job on our first video. Our first part is fully modeled. Well done, my friends.